Primetime Live.
Recently, the Botswana Pensions Society held their 19th edition of the Botswana Pensions Society Annual Conference in Kasane at the Wildview Resort. The conference, which was held under the theme Pension Funds in Botswana, Exploring the Future with Innovation, Sustainability and Growth, brought together industry experts, trustees and stakeholders to deliberate and share insights on the evolving pension fund landscape. This annual conference was more than just a gathering, as it was a platform to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and foster collaboration for the benefit of shaping the future of the pension industry as it navigates an evolving regulatory and economic landscape.
Now, with the theme Exploring the Future with Innovation, Sustainability and Growth, today we get to be a part and parcel of Botswana Pensions Society's conference for the year 2025 right here in Kasane.
The key focus of this conference, along with its theme, complemented the Society's primary goal of promoting retirement planning among retirement fund members and the public.
In line with this year's theme, we are particularly focused on driving innovation, ensuring sustainability, and fostering growth within the retirement fund sector. These three pillars are key to navigating the challenges we face and seizing the opportunities that lie ahead. However, while we celebrate the progress we have made, we must also acknowledge the challenges that our industry is facing. Economic instability, regulatory changes, and the impact of global events have posed significant hurdles. These challenges threaten the stability and growth of retirement funds, making it crucial for us to come together, share insights, and find innovative solutions.
The theme, which also sought to explore alternative sustainable investment practices that can ultimately protect the wealth of tomorrow's retirees, resonated with the vision of the Ministry of Finance, which is to be a model of excellence in financial and economic management for the prosperity of Botswana.
Research seems to suggest that the main assets for most Botswana are pensions and the house they own. Therefore, this shows how pensions are of strategic importance to Botswana. Ke matshelo a rona a serious, re kopa re lo a tlhokomela. According to the NBFIRA 2024 annual report, pensions hold 43.5% and 81% of the almost 300 billion financial and 160 billion NFI sectors respectively. This further confirms how pensions are critical in Botswana. This therefore puts a heavy burden on all the stakeholders, especially those who are in this room today, to ensure that pensions are safe at all times. As government, we are encouraged to see stakeholders internalizing on matters of strategic importance, such as pension, with a view to further develop the sector.
As the evolution of pension funds is increasingly being shaped by the demands of an ever-changing global economy, it is important to develop strategies that can help pension funds to navigate complexities and position themselves for a future that balances profitability with social and environmental responsibility.
This is a great statement from BlackRock. We are not in a business cycle. Historical trends have been permanently broken in real times as mega forces, like the rise of AI, transform economies. The outsized response of long-term assets, to short-term news shows how unusual this environment is. That is our new world order. There is, and I'm going to go through the rises. We have the rise of protectionism, tariffs. We have the rise of the right wing. The US has swung far right, and it swung very quickly. Trump is extreme far right. The EU has swung far right. France, Germany, Austria. The UK, the British are quite different. They've swung left, but believe you me, they're still right. Anti-immigration, military spending. So understand the concept of a swinging pendulum. There's a rise of climate change, and as the speakers mentioned, this concern, and we were speaking about it earlier, of environmental concern is something that is going to be something of the past.
Regulatory changes in the industry were also discussed. Speakers shared on the regulatory and policy development impacting pension funds in Botswana, giving updates on compliance, governance, and industry reforms.
Some of the changes that I'll be talking about here, gentlemen, you realize that these are some of the things that you are already doing. But what the rules have brought is now probably the timelines as to when you will do that. For example, your annual board performance, you have to do it in a certain period of time after your financial year end. So it has been tied to your financial year end. There is also a requirement, you've been doing trustee training and development. Now in the rules we find that now we are saying when somebody joins a board, they must be trained within a specific time. So those are some of the new changes that you will see. We have a transitional period of 10 months to apply this, and there's also a particular requirements for what we termed large funds. So there are minimum standards that are particularly applying to the large funds in terms of trustees. These three prudential rules, or you call them administrative rules nowadays, talks to, PFR 11 talks to fund administrators. You realize that for colleagues who have been in this industry for quite some time, even before when I joined, we have had the Pension and Provident Fund Act. We have had the Retirement Fund Act. These acts, as they were particularly talking about pension funds, and actually quite too limited details about fund administrators, except when you looked at Regulation 10. That is where you'll find the regulatory framework talking about fund administrators. Hence, as a result, there was a need to develop a specific rule to provide oversight for fund administrators' business.
Prime time life. Prime time life.
Other key topics that were covered focused on optimizing pension opportunities with emphasis on educating members on strategies to secure higher pension and make informed provider selections for a secure and sustainable retirement.
One tools that we can use as well in terms of enhancing the pension. So a member will have a pension, they'll be saving, the employer will be contributing sometimes and sometimes not. There are other products out there, the retirement annuity products out there that you can use also to supplement. There are other vehicles as well. Other people buy property, other people buy various other assets. So one of the products that I wanted to highlight is the retirement annuity product. So we've seen from our statistics that more women are supplementing their pension, and maybe that's why we're also seeing that more women are retiring with higher amounts than men. The gap is not that big, but it is there. And then the people who are actually doing this are mostly in the age range between 30 and 39. But there's a gap when it comes to the people aged less than 30.
In recent years, the industry has been significantly influenced by technological innovations which have transformed pension fund management. To unpack this, a presentation on technological innovations in pension fund management, embracing digital transformation, was made.
AI and data analytics are somewhat similar, or they tend to confuse people. But the difference is AI, you are using a technology or a machine to make a decision. Then with data analytics, you are using information as a human person to make a decision given the trends and the analysis that you get from the AI, from the data analytics dashboard. The first item that we can do or use as pension fund administrators is to use the dashboards to analyze historical data and market trends. The same that was done by the previous speaker there. AI tools can be able to give information to that detail as much as is needed, and also inform how we change things around in the pension fund landscape, given the information that we have seen. If a lot of people are getting 9,000, what is it that we need to do as pension fund managers to ensure that our funds increase the net replacement ratios of our members?
Attendees of this conference also had the opportunity to ask questions.
You talked about the living annuity, but I did not see the comparison between the life annuity and the living annuity in your charts, unless that product is not part of your portfolio.
The first panel discussion of the conference focused on sustainable investment strategies that is balancing returns with ESG goals. The discussion was particularly on integrating ESG criterion into investment portfolios while ensuring competitive returns for pension funds.
Basically, ESG is here to stay. It's quite fundamental. We have seen its importance. There is various examples we can give in terms of entities. Where we do know Facebook, there were issues with regards to issues relating to data privacy settings, and there were sanctions which ultimately were handed to those. There has been issues like in South Africa, where we did see the Steinhoff management structuring and implementing fictitious transaction over time just to enhance profits, and ultimately that led to some liquidation. But also locally we have seen some examples where there tended to be some corporate governance mishaps of some entities.
If you're going to say that you're applying ESG standards as a company, you need to have the right systems in place in terms of technology, you need to have the right people in place. For example, you need to have an ESG champion that would need ideally to be independent of the business unit that they're assessing, right? You can't have a manager in the credit department of a bank assessing the ESG compliance of the credit department of a bank. So it does add another layer of costs in terms of compliance. So those are the challenges, the big challenges from the company's perspective, the companies that we then have to look at, right? From our perspective as asset managers, the biggest challenge really starts with data collection and reporting, right? So we face challenges in terms of trying to gather standardized, reliable, and comparable ESG information across different sectors, right? Because there's no standard, different companies report what they feel is material to their business. So that poses a challenge for us when we're analyzing these companies in terms of trying to compare apples with apples, because people are reporting what they feel is material. So two banks can report two different things. So it does pose a challenge in terms of that.
As we come to the end of the first day of the 2025 Botswana Pensions Society Conference, I would like us to embrace the valuable discussions we have had and the insights gained throughout the day. It has been quite an enriching and exciting experience, and I believe we are all walking away with fresh perspectives and new ideas that will assist shape the future of our industry.
The theme for this year's conference is Pension Funds in Botswana, Exploring the Future with Growth and Sustainability. It is quite a relevant theme for the times that we are in. There's a lot of instability, be it economic and otherwise, and so many changes in the regulatory space in Botswana. And, you know, the theme resonates, very well, with the current climate and everything that is going on.
So this year's theme, Exploring Innovation, Sustainability and Growth, is speaks to the very essence of the pension fund industry and what drives it. My understanding is really how we come together to build sustainability, think of ways to make it really grow, and really the roles that each and every member of the ecosystem have in growing the industry. That's my understanding of the theme, and the conversation were quite pertinent to the laws that have been changed, the PFR laws that have been employed in the last few years, and the future, the outlook, and where we're going as an industry.
It's such a great pleasure to be here, not only as a participant, but also as a sponsor. The BPS hosts this annual conference, and it's always a pleasure to be a part and parcel of it for a number of reasons, because BFM is one of the largest asset managers in Botswana, and therefore we take keen interest in any matter relating to pension funds, members, all stakeholders who actually get involved in ensuring that all pension fund members are afforded a very good opportunity to have a dignified post-career life. So this conference is quite relevant. It will continue to be relevant for as long as BFM continues to be in the business of managing pension fund assets.
I've seen the Botswana Pensions Society grow over the years, and the effort that goes into the conference has indeed leveled up. With this year, the topics for me were very relevant, but the thing that blew me away, I was speaking to someone just now actually, and I was saying it's seeing the younger generation at the podiums doing the presentations. We've got so much talent in our industry, and I was so impressed by the content of all the different presentations. Previously, it was always us, the CEOs, who were doing the presentations, but this time it was the younger generation, the consultants. I think possibly 80% of the presenters were middle management or the junior consultants. So I was very impressed. Compliments to all of them.
Prime time life. Prime time life.
Day 2 of the conference continued. The first speaker of the day looked beyond financial planning. That presentation focused on integrating non-financial retirement planning for a holistic approach to financial well-being.
Financial security alone is not enough for us to have a fulfilling time post-retirement. So we need to also consider the health, the social engagement, and the emotional well-being as components that play a very important role in ensuring long-term financial and personal stability as well. So we know that a mentally prepared retiree is going to be making better financial decisions, and therefore they'll be able to adapt to lifestyle changes that come with retirement as well. And then when we're talking about social preparedness, so I like to say it this way: if you have been working for, let's say, 40 years, right? And then you retire, you stop active work and you go home. For the last 40 years of your life, you have been waking up every morning to go and do something. That's number one. Number two, you have a community that you have been living with or doing life with, and that community is called your colleagues at work, right? And then suddenly you leave this life that you have known for 40 years and you go home. And for some people, they get home and they realize that I am actually married. I have a wife, I have a husband, I have children, but that's because for the 40 years of your life, all that you have been doing has been working and preparing financially so that when you retire, you have something to do.
Two other important discussions was on exploring local investment opportunities for Botswana pension funds with the perspective of balancing local investments with international diversification.
Now let's think about sort of local investment opportunities, and I think the way I'm going to do this is obviously talk about investment opportunities pension funds can consider, but also add the lens on what seems to be working within the Zambian market, right? So first one, transport and energy investments. So from what we understand, the top energy prospects in Botswana are sort of core to power investments and gas to power projects. So case study from NAPSA. So NAPSA is the National Pension Scheme Authority based in Zambia. So everyone essentially contributes to NAPSA. Every working person is mandatory to contribute up to 5% of your salary to NAPSA, and the employer also matches with another 5%. So NAPSA provided a 300 million debt facility for 13 years at a rate of return of 9.5% to construct the Lusaka. So Lusaka is our capital city. Ndola is a city based in the Copper Belt where we have a lot of the mining activity. The Lusaka and Ndola Road, they provided 300 million over 13 years at a rate of return of 9.5%.
The last panel discussion of the conference unpacked the topic, navigating regulatory changes and compliance challenges in pension fund administration. The focus areas were on adaptation to evolving regulations, that is, Data Protection Act, or IFRS 17. The discussions were also on enhancing governance standards and collaborative strategies with regulators to protect fund integrity and member interests.
Basically, IFRS 17, it stands for the International Financial Reporting Standard of 2017 that was issued or it's effected on the 1st of January 2022, and it repealed and replaced the International Financial Reporting Standard 4. So this standard really establishes the presentation of disclosures in regards to insurance contracts. To really basically, it states the layout that insurance contracts should be displaced on or disclosed on the financial statements regarding stakeholders that have such, right? So really, this standard, it mandates that there should be a segregation or a split between profits, that is the investment profits and the insurance profits in the financial statements. Therefore, offering that transparency to members to ensure that they make good financial decisions.
I think if you would recall, the key changes that relate to the composition or constitution of the Board of Fund Administrators first came into effect in 2022, and this was through the Retirement Funds Act of 2022. Which provides that under Section 25 that a fund administrator shall have a board of directors which shall be independent directors. And so, as the regulatory authority indicated yesterday, this was the first time that we saw an introduction of governance requirements relating to fund administrators in the retirement funds legislation. Now, in December 2024, we then saw a further clarification of the provision of Section 25, and this was through the Prudential Rule 11, which is the administrative rules for fund administrators, which under Rule 7 provides that a fund administrator shall have a minimum of 5 directors, all of whom shall be independent directors.
The conference ended with a gala dinner where attendees gathered under a more relaxed and elegant atmosphere to reflect on the discussions and collaborations of the past 2 days. The evening was a perfect way to wind down and celebrate the success of this conference.
The past 2 days, we have delved into the dynamic world of retirement funds, exploring future-forward strategies, sustainable practices, pre- and post-retirement health solutions, as well as growth opportunities that shape the future of our industry. I must say we have had great achievements the past 2 days, and equally there have been some hurdles. As the BPS, we will not rest on our laurels. There is still a lot of work that lies ahead. We are very alive to the expectations for the society to remain relevant and in tune not only with present matters, but also with future industry developments.
A fireside chat unpacking the role of the custodian in the pension fund industry, insights from Botswana and the global anecdotes was had.
Give us a sense of how the custodians have actually expanded beyond their traditional offering to enhance the value of the services they provide to the pension fund.
So the custody business we see it as one of the core businesses, especially for institutional clients. In fact, if you think about a corporate client, a cash account that they have will be a core account that they have. For institutional client, a custody account will be a core that they have. So we see it as a core within the security services industry. But beyond custody, to your question, Dintle, we've got other services that we offer, as an example, and which are quite relevant for pension funds. We offer security services, securities lending, where pension funds can make a bit more money from what they do. So we've got lots of assets that are sitting with custodians. These assets can be taken and lent to other institutions, and then you can earn money from that.
It's been 2 days of information overload. And central to these conversations is how we can, in the now, create sustainable value for our customers through innovative practices in the manner in which we administer, in the manner in which we invest, and in the manner in which we regulate. I honestly believe that regulation is necessary, but I also believe that regulation needs to be managed so that it doesn't take the creativity and the innovation that we're talking about today. And central to these is the governance structures that we have in place. And key to that for me, as we handle the many billions that we handle, is the ethical manner in which we invest. And that borders around the issues of the E and the S's and the G's of today. And hopefully as you go back and reflect on the way that you do things, you reflect on how your decisions impact the next life and the life into the future.